Hey, party people, how is it going? Welcome to the Deeva Show, and I'm going to welcome you once again. Good afternoon, party people. And because I haven't seen you all on the show since last year, I'm going to say Happy New Year, everybody. Happy New Year, Happy New Year. Welcome to the Deeva Show, the first Deeva Show of the year, where I play a little music. I give you a little information, a little inspiration, and some information on the industry. And today, I'm not sure if you all see it. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you some little tidbits that some gems or what have you, that I want to give you about the industry. I put some of those questions that I wanted to answer for you all on my page with the advertisement for the show. So I'm really looking forward to getting into it and getting started. And one of the things, like I said, this is my first show of the year. So first and foremost, like I said, Happy New Year to everybody. And I hope you celebrate it safely. 2020 was a heck of a year. 2021 has started off the rocker. And I'm sure we can talk extensively about that. However, I was taught growing up, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all. So what I do have nice to say is congratulations to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris for becoming our president-elect and our vice president-elect for the United States. So that's where I'm going to leave it, and that's what I'm going to talk about as far as politics are concerned. So I want to jump into some things. We talk about the industry. I'm not sure if you've looked at my page and seen some things that I've had on my page, but I have some major announcements that are coming up in reference to my feature film, Have You Seen Her? So yes, I'm taking everyone on a journey with me, watching some of the clips so that you'll know some of the exciting, I can't give you everything, but some of the exciting clips to, excuse me, to anticipate. And Have You Seen Her? So many of you will be able to experience and check out and see Have You Seen Her soon. And I can't wait to give you that announcement on that platform. And also, I'm going to tell you all to look out for other projects that I have as far as Faces of Life, and some of the film stage productions that I have also. But right now, we are working on Have You Seen Her's platform multiple platforms that is going to be announced on. So I'm excited to bring that to you. Today, like I said, I'm bringing you some information as far as, I guess you would say, a director's outlook, perspective, opinion. I'm going to say it's my opinion. I'm sure that some people share the opinion that I have when it comes to the industry, putting together a production, putting together a successful production. Don't want to necessarily start off this way necessarily, but I'm going to say this. When you're putting together a cast and you're putting together a production, is a lot that goes into it that people don't realize that's on the back end. Actors, or as they call it, talent, come in and they audition. And when talent audition, you have to understand that there's a lot that goes on at that point in time. And a lot of people think if I say the words right, my timing, how I'm dressed, my look. Some people come with a wardrobe to change for emotion and whatever they want to call it. And I mean, that's all well, good and fine. But I'm going to give you some of the underground parts of why directors sometimes make the decisions that they make. I will tell you, with my entertainment company, DEU, Diva Entertainment Unlimited Productions, LLC, I am going to tell you that I pay close attention to a lot of different things. I don't just pay attention to how you deliver lines, because, and I know I always talk about it, but my mentor, Mel Williams, always explained in his classes that you can be a phenomenal actor and still suck. Let me explain. You can have a phenomenal delivery, but you don't take direction well. How can somebody work with you? How can a director work with you if they can't direct you? You can have the look, but not have the personality, a receiving personality. Body language says a lot. Your resume may be off the chain. You may have worked with some phenomenal people. You may have worked with some amazing people. And too often people get very comfortable in their art. They get comfortable with being on multiple projects. I'm going to tell you, when it comes to that, you have to look at quality instead of quantity. If you are still, all right, let me backtrack on that. Like I said, quality opposed to quantity. You can give a director a resume of 20 productions that you've been in, but out of those 20 productions that you've been in, you've only executed your character one time. And it doesn't matter who you work with. If you submit a reel to a director and they're watching your reel, and maybe you picked the one that you didn't execute on. Now, you may have worked with some very prominent directors, some A-list cast, and so forth and so on. However, if you do not display in your reel execution, when I say execute, what I mean by, if you're not identifying with your character, and if you're not bringing forth a communication to your audience with that character that they can identify with, it means nothing. I'm just going to say this. I have taken a pause on my production during this time of COVID for the safety of my cast and my crew, myself and my family. I didn't want to put anybody's life at risk, because bottom line is, we don't know about this virus, just like we don't know about this vaccine. So a lot of people are just doing temperature checks. And at one point I started to do it, but then everything spiked up. That's when they opened up a little bit, in PA. And then I started filming, and then numbers started spiking up. And I had to take a conscious thought to myself, I would never want to be responsible for anyone getting sick on my watch, because as we're learning little by little that COVID incubates for a certain period of time before it shows its ugly head, and it affects everybody different. So therefore, I decided to take a pause on my production. But I was looking at my timeline on Facebook, and I was looking at my timeline on Instagram, and I totally get it. I totally get it. And I understand some people are still working, and that's fine. That's their decision. And you get the post saying, I'm working. Okay. However, just because you're working, just because you're working with certain people does not necessarily mean that, how do I say, you're going to make it per se. It's not about how much stuff you're in, how many productions you're in. What it's about is the quality of the productions that you're in. Also, you have to consider this. When you're hired and you're going into these different productions, you have to look at the quality of the production, the platform of the production, and also pay close attention to the character. I'm going to say it again, the character that they hired you for. If you're constantly doing the same type of roles, you're not growing. If you're doing the same thing in almost every production that you're in, you're not expanding your talent. So that's something else that a director looks at. If you're always in, I'll say, a comedic role, and you're never in a serious role where you have to internalize emotion and express that emotion with nonverbal acting, are you able to do that? Are you able to execute? Are you able to deliver? Are you able to do that and let everybody see what's going on without saying anything out of your mouth? Are you able to bring your audience into a tear-jerking moment, close up, filled with emotion that bring people into feel what you feel? So what I'm saying is, where I started when I was talking about quality over quantity. A lot of people say, oh, I was in this, I was in that, I did this, and I work with this person, and I work with that person. Okay, what was your character? And what did you deliver to your audience? It's very important. I'm going to say that one of the things that I do and I like to do with my cast is I like to give them characters that's out of their norm. I don't know if you all had an opportunity to enjoy Lord, I Prayed. But that was one of many productions that I worked with my cast and crew on. And I kind of took people out of their norms, out of their, how do I say, security place on the stage. Because in order for an actor to be successful, they have to continuously work on their art. Just like me as a director, writer, producer. I do webinars. I watch different, how can I say, different things that is actually going to teach me and expand. And I talk to people and communicate just to learn new innovative things of way of doing things as a director, different ways to tell a story instead of the same old way. I can tell you I have grown with what I know now opposed to what I knew a couple of years ago, when I was getting into my first film. I'm learning editing, what goes into the editing process. And I'm saying that because when you realize what actually goes into the editing process as a filmmaker and as a writer and as a director, it changes your writing somewhat because you realize you don't have to write as much. You use scenery and placement and things like that to help to tell your story. So I'm constantly learning more and more about my talent. So when I say that, and I think I'm going on my 14th or 15th year with my company, but I'm saying I'm still learning things and I'm pushing myself to learn even more. So I'm going to say to um, actors that are out there that are actually trying to make it, it's not about quantity, it's about quality. Take the time to get into some coaching, take some time to learn more about your craft and challenge yourself by doing a character that is not within your norm. Is something that is not easy. Make sure that you challenge yourself by getting into a character that you really have to internalize. For instance, when you see these different A-list stars that they may cut their hair, and I'm not saying you have to go to that extreme, because a lot of you don't even want to dress the character. You want to dress the way that you usually dress and just deliver lines. We're not even going to go there. You got to look the part. You got to sound the part. Internalize the part. Come across. But I'm just going to say the A-list stars will lose weight, or gain weight so that they can come across to their audience. And a lot of times that's what it takes. And people just think that being themselves and being able to scrunch their face up to say a line or draw a tear out of their eye is getting into character and acting and delivering. And it's a whole lot more than that. And people can see that. People can see that when they're watching your work. So I'm going to go into a couple of the questions that I had posed on my page, and I guess I'll go into a little bit of detail, not a whole lot of detail, but I'm gonna go into a little bit of detail about a few things. And I'm coming to you and I'm talking to you about this because, I want it for everybody. I want it for everybody. Do your thing. When it comes to working with DEU, I will tell you anything that, you ask. I will, if I don't know the answer, I'll do what I can to research the answer so I can give you an educated response. If I don't know, I will just say, I don't know, but I will take the time to try to find out. Straight up, being honest. All right. So, all right. What do directors want? People ask that all the time. What do they want? I'm going to tell you, for me, what I want is two things that I say before I leave my show, the Deeva Show. I always say, I want commitment and consistency. Commitment and consistency. Now I'm going to tell you some details about that. People say, "Oh, I'm committed. I know, I'm ready. I'm going to do the doggone thing." Let me tell you something. All right, here we go. Commitment and consistency does not mean the same to everybody. Commitment doesn't mean, I'm going to do the role. They audition for the role, and some people I just appoint because I've worked with them before and I know their capabilities and what they can do. And a lot of times I try to stretch them so that they can continue to grow as actors. So commitment to me is someone that will take the script, read the entire script, not only know their lines, but know lines of others, and will also question me. I tell people all the time, I don't have a problem answering the questions. My cast and crew know that I welcome questions about their character that would help them to internalize their character. And I do it all the time because me as a writer, I want them to know what goes into this character, how this character developed, why this character developed, and their purpose in the production, whether it's theater or whether it's film. I've had multiple conversations with my cast and crew. I did have somebody say to me, "You don't like anybody ask you questions." I'm like, "Yeah, you must not know me." There's a difference between questioning the writing, and questions about your character. But I'm gonna get into that a little bit later as far as questioning the writing. So two of the things that I like is commitment and consistency. I'm going to say a director can tell in rehearsal, when you come to rehearsal or whether you're on set, a director can tell whether you are committed and whether you are consistent. If you get a script a month in advance, I'm going to say it again. If you get a script a month in advance and you show up in rehearsal or on set and you can't remember any of your lines and you have to say line, 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 that shows you're not committed. It shows you're not committed. There goes the question of whether this director wants to work with you again, because there's a lot that goes on with that. Because if you have someone that comes on set that don't know their lines, that have had the script for a month in advance, and I'm telling you right now, in dealing with COVID, my cast and crew were ready to go in March to start filming, and we had to stop. I mean, seriously, it was almost cameras up. So my cast and crew for Witness have had their schedule for almost a year. Almost a year. So at this point, when things continue to open up and we get out there, I'm looking at it that everybody should know their lines. Everybody's ready to go. You know what I mean? So just to backtrack, commitment means a lot of different things. For instance, even in your audition, it shows commitment, because some people get a little lax. Like I said, they come with resumes. Oh, I've been in this, I've been in that, and I've done this, and I've done that. But you come into the audition unprepared. You come late, or you don't have a prepared monologue, as the casting call explained. You know, at the bottom, it always, has an email or a phone number for questions. You email or call and ask some of the questions that you need to ask prior to you getting there. You don't wait to get there and then you're called in to do your audition, and then you want to bombard the panel with questions that could have been answered with a simple phone call or an email, which means that you're taking time away from the next person that needs to audition, possibly even for the part that you're going for. So I'm just giving y'all some information, because I have other projects coming up. And I guess I was thinking about it because I had an incident, not that long ago. And I was just thinking about it. And I said, my Deeva Show is about the industry, and it's about inspiration and information. So why not share it with you all, so that going into 2021, if you have an opportunity to do something different, you can do something different and improve where you need to improve so that you can get those parts. But yeah, I'm not sure about other directors, but that's something that I do look for, is commitment, consistency. When we talk, I told you what I mean by commitment. You can recognize with commitment if a person is really focused on their art, taking you seriously about your art, and if they're committed to working on a project at 100%, like you are. There are some people that still work. I understand there's some people that still work regular jobs. I still work a regular job. So I understand that there are some challenges that take place and go on. However, you have to honestly ask yourself, am I able to give the commitment that's needed for this production to be successful, and not strain on the cast or crew what you got going on. So we're going to talk about consistency. Consistency. as far as rehearsal is concerned, you know, um, if you have a director that gives you a schedule of when rehearsals are going to be, then if you're able to make that commitment, make it consistent. Make that commitment, make it consistent. For instance, if you have rehearsal Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, you work on Fridays. Communicate and say, listen, I really want to do this project. However, I work on Fridays and I see you have rehearsals Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. Are we able to work that out? You know, as long as I come and I do, you know, what's necessary and what you anticipate and you expect of me. And the director will either tell you yes or they'll tell you no. But when you don't communicate and you become inconsistent with your rehearsals and when you show up, it creates a problem. And it also becomes an issue of, you know, rehire. Do you rehire this person, or do you even let this person continue on with your production because it hurts production? Non-communication really does hurt a production. So I talked about commitment. I talked about consistency. And those are two main important things that I look for when it comes to production. I'm not sure what's going on with this computer right now, but all right. So it stopped on its own. I do apologize. Every now and then I had these technical difficulties. I'm not sure if you hear it because you all are on Facebook Live, but on a radio show, it does this fluttering thing. So I do apologize if it seems like I'm a little discombobulated, but I did talk about commitment. I talked about consistency, and I went into a little bit of detail, and I hope that I was able to help someone with some information. I don't know if this is on the same lines. I put on here what directors want, uh, and also what do directors look for? Well, first and foremost, of course, directors look for talent. Talent and actors that can create. When I say actors that can create, I'm going to say actors that can take that character off the page and create nuances that brings that character to life and not just on the page. I do at times, I do allow certain ad libs that helps with the development of the character, how it's displayed and how it comes across to the audience. If it helps the text, yes, but if it hurts the text, no. But again, that's something that an experienced actor will develop as they go along learning the character. Dissecting the script is majorly important because it really helps with character development for you to understand the position of this person, what their purpose is. And once you start dissecting the script and you start to figure that out, you start to figure out certain nuances that this character may have or may not have that helps them come across to the audience. The way a person talks, you know, like I'm just going to say Denzel Training Day, he had a certain swag, a certain arrogant swag about him that he didn't have to use necessarily lines to say it. Like it was the way he walked, you know, his presence in the room just displayed that arrogance. And that's the type of create I'm talking about. Yes, Dion, there's certain levels to it. Once you actually dig in and start to learn a character, it helps you. I'm sorry, party people. I don't know what's going on with the radio, but if you're listening to me from the radio, it's a little fluttering going on back and forth, and I'm not sure where that's coming from. And I do apologize for any interference. If you're listening on the radio or you're watching me on YouTube and you hear it, I do apologize for that. It's kind of like out of my control. But I was talking about Denzel with Training Day, just his presence. Forrest Whitaker, oh my goodness. And I know I'm shouting out. People say, oh, you're giving people early advertisement. Why not? They earned it. Like, it's not taking anything away from me. People need to learn it. Capping somebody else up is not, losing anything of yourself. Like, it's okay to praise someone, not necessarily praise, because praise is just for God. But to let someone know they're doing a good thing that people are noticing. So Forrest Whitaker, I'm just going to tell you, in some of the roles that he has played, oh my gosh, it's like you feel it. You just feel it. Mastering your talent will put you closer and closer to your audience feeling it. So I'm going to say, what do I look for? I look for people that are committed to their talent. I look for people that take the time to review their script, to take it serious. I look for respect first and foremost. You know what I mean? Because I give everyone respect. I accept respect back. As a director, I'm going to talk about a couple of other things, and we're going to get into another realm of this. Why didn't you get the part? The reason why I'm going to say this again. The reason why I'm giving you all some of this information is because some people don't know, some people don't understand. And if you don't know, it's better to be in the know, because that way you can redo some things that you have done and it help you to get in the room. What I mean by that, as far as auditions and things like that, always choose your best work when you put it on a resume. Don't just include everything that you have been in, because you may not have been great in everything. Choose the right reel to put on your resume. Take time to actually sit and look at it, and not only just sit and look at it as a reel for you to forward to somebody else, but also use your reels as a learning experience. Take the time, and I know it's going to sound kind of odd, but take the time to pick apart your own work, because no one is perfect. I'm not perfect. So take the time to pick apart your own work and see what you could have done differently. Some of the decisions that you made in that character, because characters can be played in multiple ways sometimes. So when you are sending out a reel or you're sending out a resume, like I said, some people are just so happy-go-lucky because they've been in 20 and 30 projects. But if you've done the same type character in 20 or 30 projects, it doesn't look like you're an experienced actor. It just looks like you're just doing too much. And not really, you're doing too much, spreading yourself too thin, and you're not focusing on your art and your craft. So it just because you're in 20 or 30 things, if you're playing the same character in 20 or 30 things, you already are in a position of typecasting. You're in a position of being typecast, that everybody is going to continue to hire you for the same type of roles, because they don't see a stretch in you, because they don't see growth in you. So that's some of the reasons why you didn't get the part. Sometimes, honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you. Sometimes it's honestly because you don't have the look of the part, and people get offended when they're told, and sometimes they're not told, when they don't get the part because they don't have the look. Let me help you understand something. As a director and a writer, when I am writing a story, I already have in mind what this character looks like. You know, it's not that you're ugly, it's not that you're cute, it's not that you're, you know, it's not an attack on you. And some people take it as a personal attack, and it's not a personal attack. What it is when I'm sitting down and when I'm sitting down, I'm writing a character, and I'm writing this character, and this character is a heavy set person, and in some of her dialogue, she communicates about that, or someone else communicates to her about her size or her weight. And I'm just giving y'all just a bare example, her size or her weight. How is that going to fit if I hire somebody for that character that's only 110 pounds? I would have to rewrite it. It would throw everything off, and it would not fit. It wouldn't speak for the written work. So just understand that sometimes not getting the part doesn't mean that you didn't do well. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're not good. It just means that that part wasn't you weren't appropriate for the part, for that director, for that particular piece, for that particular character. And that's all that means. Every writer sees the character that they're developing. As I write, when I write, I have layers to my characters. They don't just do one thing. I have layers to my characters. So with me having layers to my characters and how they interact with other characters, I have to have a certain feel. I have to have a certain look. I have to have a certain type. And because you don't want to offend people, and this is the bottom line, because you don't want to offend people, you don't put out a casting call and say, I'm looking for this necessarily. You know that you're looking for this age range. You know, whether it's an African American role or whether it's an Asian role or whether it's Caucasian role, you know that when you're getting a casting call. However, you're not reading the story, you're not reading the script. So therefore, you not necessarily know how this character is fitting into the script. And, when they have that phone number at the bottom of the casting call or their email, and they say, if you have any questions, call or send an email, you can always ask questions in a delicate way to kind of figure out, what you're looking for. Some casting calls, that's why they ask you to send your headshot with your resume, because you can kind of get the feel of whether this person is going to be able to execute that character or not. So they'll call you in for an audition. If you send your photo and your resume ahead of time and they call you back and say that they want to see you, that means that you have a good chance of getting that part. But if you, for instance, on Facebook, where they just post casting call and they'll just put age and sex and what have you, and that's the only information that they have, and they give you a date and a time to show up, just understand that you're gambling. And I'm just putting it out there. I'm trying to give as much information as I can, but just understand that you're gambling, because this director and casting director has not seen you. You're going to be amongst many that you're going to be competing against. Not saying don't go. I'm just telling you the monopoly of things. You're going to be up against multiple actors for this particular part. And each time a person goes into audition, that casting director and that director is looking for that look, and they'll pull apart a couple of possibilities and put them on the side, and then they'll decide amongst those possibilities. But for the most part, if you have that cold casting call, just put up there, and they didn't ask you to send headshots and resumes, just know that it's a monopoly. Understand that. And sometimes it's not a bad thing, but just understand that you're going to be auditioning amongst a whole lot of people. But if you send somebody your resume and your headshot, and They say, yes, I want to see you. You better do your research so that when you show up, you're the bomb diggity, because they're already interested in you. I'm telling you, I'm giving you some information. They're already interested in you, which means that you need to do your homework. You need to ask as many questions as you can, come prepared as much as possible, and knock it out the box. You know, just to recap on that, you know, what directors look for. I'm going to tell you, if you are responding to a casting call and they give you their email address to send your headshot and your resume, if you receive a response after that telling you that they want to see you and they want to audition, you better go and knock the box out, because they've already looked at your look. And I told you that directors, when I'm writing, I already know what a character looks like. I already know what I'm looking for. So they've already looked at your resume. They have already looked at your headshot, and they're considering you for the role. They're not just going to have you come in just because and try to figure out where to put you. They already know what they're looking for. So once you have that invite and say, after you sent your resume and headshot, you better do your homework. And if you need to make some phone calls or email to find out about your character to the casting crew or director or what have you, do so, because they've already let you know that they're interested. You better knock that audition out the box. But if you are just showing up on site at an audition that just says casting call and tells you a date and time to show up, and you coming with your headshot and your resume in hand, understand you're gambling. Understand that you're going to be amongst many. And that director would be like, all right, next. And it's not out of disrespect. It's just because it's not what they're looking for. They've already figured out the look of the character that they're looking for. So just understand and recognize that. Be mindful of that. That's a monopoly. I'm not saying don't go. I'm just telling you what happens when the difference in the two. Okay. Still answering questions. What else does a director look for? Well, like I said, I look for respect first and foremost. I respect, the people that I have worked with over the years. They respect me. I appreciate and recognize all of the other talents that they have. Many of them are vocalists. Some of them are poets. Some of them are comedians. And I respect all of the work that they do, not just what they do with DEU. And I do go out and I do support them and respect and appreciate their talents, because everybody is on their grind. Everybody is trying to do their own thing. Collectively, we can come together and respectfully work together. And that's something that I appreciate with my cast and crew. DEU has been phenomenal over the years. There has been many that have come and not necessarily gone because they know I'll get on the horn and be like, hey, what you doing? You want to do this project? Are you interested? And da, da, da. So, and you know what? Sometimes somebody said something to me. This is a couple of years ago. Somebody said to me, so Deeva, it looks like you only work with the same people. I'm going to answer this for you. It's not that I only work with the same people. I put out casting calls and people will respond and say that they're interested. Okay, send me your headshot and resume. I don't hear from them. Regardless of what you have done with someone else, I need to see what you can do on my stage. I have been to some productions, and I'm just going to say I'm very harsh when it comes to certain things. I pick apart certain things. So just because you were in this doesn't mean that, and you got rave claps and so forth and so on. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be able to execute the character that I wrote the way that I needed to be executed. So I still need to see what you can do. And many people say, oh, I'm interested. Let me know when you're doing the next project. I'm down. I want to do it. You know, I've been wanting to work with DEU for a while. But when it comes to commitment, I'll be there. You know, I got this other audition I gotta do. But the casting call has been posted. The notification has put out. And some of them you reach out to me saying that you want to do a production with me. But when it comes to the commitment and consistency, it's an issue. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't chase people down to get them to do things. Never, ever will, ever. If you are committed and you have consistency, and if you are interested, then we'll work together. But I don't do Phillywood. That's Hollywood and Philadelphia. And I don't do it because one of the things that my mentor, my director, Mel Williams, said is that, you know, you'll take an unseasoned actor and teach them the ropes before you put up with a seasoned actor's BS. Period. Bottom line. I won't be disrespected with anything that I do. And when you tell a director, oh, I'm my bad, even though you knew about a rehearsal, I'm sorry, I'm getting into the other part of my segment. And the other part of my segment that I'm talking about today is why didn't you get the part? I was just talking about that, why you didn't get the part. And sometimes it's not necessarily because you did something wrong. It's just necessarily that you know, you may not have looked the part. You may not have executed what you needed to execute for this director. And having the look doesn't necessarily mean that you come with a full wardrobe or what you think they're expecting. Sometimes it's just a specific look that they're looking for. So I'm going to go into the next part, what you could do and what you shouldn't do. And I'm going to talk about what you shouldn't do. You know, if you know about a rehearsal and you have advance notice of when a rehearsal is, and this is where the commitment comes along, you don't wait till the day of the table read. It doesn't matter if it's a table read. You don't discredit anything because a director, myself, I'm paying attention to it all, whether it's a table read, whether it's a meet and greet for coffee, to discuss your character, rehearsal, coming on set, all of that. You don't tell a director I'm late because I was at another audition. You don't tell a director the day of a table read or the day of a rehearsal that you were well informed about in advance. You don't wait until that day to say, oh, I had another rehearsal and I forgot I had to be there. Listen, I'm just going to tell you, I've heard some things, but that's one that will stick in the craw of a director. You don't ever tell a director that you forgot about their rehearsal or you forgot about their table read or you forgot that it was scheduled that day. And the reason why is because the translation to the director is that you didn't find their project important enough to remember. How do you forget if you're an actor? How do you forget a table read? How do you forget an audition? Isn't this your passion? Isn't this something that you wanted to do for a really long time? This is, you know, it takes a lot. Sometimes, you know, that poker face. You have that poker face when people say things to you, but understand nothing goes unnoticed, you know, especially when a person tells you, I forgot. And that's just like somebody hitting you up and saying to you, I forgot about your birthday. Huh? Like we know each other. Like, how do you, it's kind of the same, not necessarily the same, but I'm just trying to point out is when you tell a director that you forgot about their rehearsal, you forgot about their table read, and so forth and so on. And the ultimate, I'm going to tell you one of the ultimates. Do you have another script? Because I forgot mine. I'm breaking it down to y'all. I'm telling you all, I forgot my script. You're on your way to rehearsal. How do you forget your script? So I'm giving y'all these little tidbits because, you know, things are going to be opening up. Things are going to start going a little faster than what they're going right now as far as the industry is concerned. Hopefully, you know, opening theaters up at 10% is not really opening things up. Once you pay your staff to maintain, that's 10% itself. I mean, yes, Dion, chemistry is everything. And you know what? Just to piggyback on that, when you're late for a table read or a rehearsal, or you're late to set, one, that's burning up money, especially if you late to set. That's burning up money and time, people's time. But everybody else that's in your scene with you suffers. You know, somebody else has to read your part. You know, especially, you know, if you're going for your first table read for a project and you call the day of and say, I'm either, oh, I'm still in this rehearsal that no one knew about. I'm still in this rehearsal, or I'm just leaving this audition. I'll be there. So the other 20 and 30 people that are sitting around at the table are sitting there waiting for you to show up. How fair is that? And how does that look to a director? So I'm going over some of the things that you really, 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 really shouldn't do. But I'm going to talk about some of the things that you could do, because I talked about a lot of things that I'm hoping that some people take heed to and recognize and realize that it's important. And right now, while you're home, while you're inside, you could have been making reels, some really good reels. You could have been picking apart some of the reels that you already have, that you forwarded to that director that you thought was the bomb. And now you done looked at it yourself again and realized that it's not. You know, do a self-taping, you know, as an audition. Do a self-taping, sit and review it and look at it, and look at how you're connecting with your character, so that when the auditions really start coming in, your submissions will be good. You know, you'll have good material that you can submit. But that's one of the things that you could do. Another thing that you could do is take an online virtual a virtual acting course. You know, um, for instance, I Can Act with Nakia Dillard. He has virtual acting classes that you can take, and a lot of his students, from, I'll say, from the youngest child to, you know, the oldest adult, they're getting booked on really good projects and working with some very prominent people. So there's virtual acting classes that you can take, and also they also teach you the finance of the industry, and also how to do voiceovers. Some of you right now with COVID, we're at home. So, you know, if you're not on stage, and if you're not in front of a camera, then, I mean, it's virtual. Why not learn the art of, you know, doing voiceovers? Look into that, investigate that, and figure out what you can do to get into that world, because that's something that you can get paid for, and you don't have to be in front of anybody. You don't have to have an audience. You don't have to do much traveling. You know, it's voiceover. It's a recording, and it's becoming, well, it's been popular. It's been popular. Pardon me. But it's very popular, and it's a way of keeping your skills up and staying relevant, you know, staying relevant in the industry, and making sure that you keep your talent fresh. Um, what else? Like I said, with I Can Act, they also help you with not just voiceovers, but writing your acting resume. including your clips, including your reels. And in that consultation, he also lets you know what you should include, what you shouldn't include, because sometimes we're confused as to what we should include in our reels. You know, uh, cutting down on too much information. For instance, some of you have been acting since you were a young child. Understand that if you are, I would say, 39, 25, or what have you, I'm going to tell you, a director is not interested in what you did in your fifth grade stage play. Like, it's some things that you could just keep off your resume just to keep it real. So that when they're looking at your resume, what you have going on is fresh, is recent. If it's not recent, just put on what you were most prominent in. But you want it to be fresh. You want it to be recent. You want to ask as many questions possible as far as what you should do or what you could do. I don't like saying what you should do. No, I like saying what you could do. What you could do is when you, as an actor, when you get a project, and especially if you've auditioned and you've got the part, read your script from beginning to end. Make it a point to communicate and connect with your castmates outside of rehearsal to go over lines, to help with timing, to help with, you remembering and internalizing your lines. Many times we have rehearsals, and sometimes, because it may not be your 100% day job, sometimes, you have work, you have children, you're raising children, you're taking care of some older adults. I get it. However, when you do have that spare time, instead of um, hanging out, pick up the phone with your scene partner and go over your lines. And I'm going to tell y'all, when I was working, acting in New York, with the theaters for a New Generation with Melvin Williams, and we did productions at the Producers Club. I had scene partners that lived in New York. So getting together outside of rehearsal, because we only rehearsed with Mel like once a week. And then it went up to 2 weeks, and we would go like one day in the middle of the week. However, in order to get it right, I'm just going to say, in order to get it right, you have to do your homework. You have to do your work. And one of the things that we did is we called each other at least once a day or every 2 days. And we went over reading our lines over the phone. We went back and forth to the point where our lines became, a conversation, opposed to us running lines. And it just sounded like we were in the scene. So when we would get together, we already had worked out a timing and a rapport with each other and our delivery that it really worked out. So when I say what you could do is, like I said, learn different avenues and different ways of communicating with your scene partners other than just showing up in rehearsal or showing up on set, or if you can't do that, then read lines with someone else in the family. Constantly go over, because you may find out different ways of delivering. You may find different ways of bringing that character to life. And the more you read the script itself, the more you know where your piece fits in the puzzle of the story. The more you get a better understanding, and the more you hear yourself go over your lines, the more you're able to create, the more you're able to dig in and really give that character life. Reaching out to the director, reaching out to gosh, I'm trying to think of it. I can't think of it right now, but reaching out to your crew that's there for you uh, to get more information about your character. When you take time to reach out to them, especially, you may not have the writer at your disposal to communicate and talk with, but if you have your AD, your assistant director, and if you have your director on set and your creative director, especially your creative director is very much in understanding of the characters in the story, just as your director, and your creative director can actually give you some help with developing your character and help with you understanding where you fit. And I'm saying all of these things because as a director, I'll be honest with you, if we're on set or even if we're doing a stage production, as soon as we get into rehearsal and the lines start flowing, I can tell who's committed and who's not. I'm not the only director, and it's insulting to have someone come to your rehearsal unprepared without a script. Um, One that shows up late and doesn't know their lines, um, is noticed, may not say anything, but in the back of that director's mind, they're making a decision whether they want to keep you on or get somebody to replace you. Um, and as well, you know, you're trying to figure out whether you want to work with this person again because they're not showing your work any respect. They just figure it's not that important. And that, i.e., is where you go with people that be like, oh, I had another audition, or I'm sorry, I forgot about this rehearsal. Oh, so you forgot about the work that I put blood, sweat, and tears and sat and wrote and developed and did all of this casting call for and paid for a building for rehearsal and paid for, like, and the only thing that you can say to me is, oh, I forgot. I'm just telling you, these are things that directors think about. You know what I'm saying? Like, this person is just not really giving any respect to the time, energy that you put into your work. So why should I work with them again? Why should I keep them on set? And why should I make them a prominent part of my project? Sometimes you can go to the lead role to the least role based on your commitment and your respect level that you have for your director. You know what I mean? I'll be honest with you. You know, there have been times where I have been challenged as a director because I'm a female. It happens to us, ladies. You know it. You know, because I'm a female. I write very colorfully. I'm going to say I write very colorfully because I have a colorful life. I did have a colorful life, I'm going to say. I experienced a lot of things that nobody would believe that their Deeva experienced. But Deeva is not, some prominent prissy. Yeah, I didn't give, how do I say, it's not Deeva out of some type of boisterous bougie. No, I call myself Deeva because I overcome a lot of obstacles. But I've seen a lot. I've been involved in a lot in my life. And because people don't really know me like that, and they'll look at my writing and say, oh, that may not have happened. Well, I don't believe this. I don't believe that. I'm going to tell you, the worst disrespect that you can give is to discredit it, especially the emotions and the feelings and the actions in the writing of a director or a writer or director that created a piece that they're very familiar with, especially from the heart. And you're going to sit and come as an actor and tell them that it's not realistic when they lived it. How do you do that? So that's something that you shouldn't do, is question. You don't question the writing. If you don't feel comfortable with certain things, then the best thing for you to do is remove yourself from the project. My suggestion is never to question. Now hear me when I say this. You can question a director or a writer about your character and character development. Don't question the writing. The last thing that you should do is, this character is doing this. I don't think that this character should be doing this. I think this character should be doing that. Well, that right there is an issue. Don't do that. If you want to know about the character, you ask about the character, and you ask about some challenges with the character, as far as why did this character do this? Why did the character do that? So that you'll be in a better understanding of the character and why the character was written that way. But don't question and say, no, you don't do this, you do that, da da da. As a female director, I have been, challenged, but I'm going to tell you, a lot of the writings that I have come from life experiences. I take my work very seriously, and I can't work with anybody that don't take me seriously. So um, I'm going to keep grinding and grinding until my work is everywhere and delivering messages that people can utilize in order to grow within their life in a positive direction. But getting back onto what you could do, like I said, do self taping, go over your self taping, pick it apart, redo it. Right now with COVID, many of you are home. You got plenty of time. You got plenty of time to work on your art. You got plenty of time to keep rereading the scripts, because there's several projects that suffered, and I know of a couple, but I know there's many. There are a couple of projects that suffered when COVID hit in March. Projects were about to go up and get started, and everything had to shut down. So if you haven't done it already, take the time on some of these days, and instead of, I see so many people putting up what they watching. Okay, I'm not necessarily a TV watcher like that, but I see people putting up so many different um series that they're watching, and so forth and so on. Like, but what are you doing for your art? What kind of homework are you doing with your art? There's so many webinars that you can look at. There's so many acting classes that have gone virtual now that you can take a part in to capitalize off of your time, to make sure that when it is time to open up, that you can do something. Now, even if you're not an actor, if you're a director, listen, I'm learning different ways to deliver my story. I'm learning different platforms also. But like I said, I'm learning editing as well. And, when things start to open back up, even before things open up, I'm doing some things that I can do during COVID. Monopolize on your time. Don't sit and waste your time watching somebody else on camera. Like, I don't get it. So instead of working on yourself so that you can be in front, on somebody's television, you sitting there watching somebody else on television do their thing. And it's nothing wrong with supporting every now and then, but some people just get into, like, they go from watching one series to another series, and then get on social media, and then they want to talk about the series. Like, don't you want to be in a series? Like, what are you doing to put yourself in that position? I watch some things, and a lot of times I do. I'm going to say I do learn from watching different things and how people tell stories. So sometimes it's okay, but some people just watch things in excess. Go from one series to the next series, and you want to have a whole Facebook discussion about the series, and then you talk about this character and that character and what you think they're going to do next. Well, what are you going to do next with your character? What can people look forward to with you? With what your art is, whether it's singing, whether it's dancing, whether it's rapping, whether it's poetry, whether it's writing, whether it's directing, as far as editing and camera work. What have you learned different during COVID that you're going to be able to bring to the table? There are some productions that are still going. There are some productions that still need people. If you're unaware of that, for actors, for writers, cinematographers, photographers, music, everything. I'm going to give you another tidbit. If you're looking for something, film.org. Film.org. But not only can you look for work there, but if you need somebody on a crew, film.org. And it's some other platforms out there, but that was the first one that came to mind. that you could put it out there that you're looking for somebody and that you need somebody for your crew or for your cast, and you put it out there and you let them know what you're looking for, you let them know what you want, and start pushing yourself to expand your talent. Don't get satisfied and complacent and comfortable with what you've been delivering, because last year was last year. This is a new year, new expectations. You should have new expectations for yourself. You should have new expectations for yourself. And what I mean by that is, you know, something that I mentioned earlier when I started the radio show, when I was talking about people often happy with just working. And you see it up and down the timeline. I'm working. Okay. What kind of character are you doing? Have you expanded your your creativity? What did you create with your last character? Did you even create at all? Where in your last character, what did you do that was different from the character that you played before that? You know, when you look at television, I'm not going to name any star list, but when you look at television, there are certain stars that they made it, but they're typecast and they'll only get certain roles because they have not expanded their creativity within their art. They have not taken the time to do more. They got to a certain place and got comfortable and just don't want to do anything further. And it's sad because they could possibly be better than what they are. But if you don't take the time and do your homework, it's not going to happen. It's not something that just happens to you overnight. It's something that you have to work at. It's just like, I'll say comedy. I'm going to use that as an example. Yes, I will use an example. You can't do almost every comedy room with the same jokes for 6 months. You just, and that's my opinion. I'm not a comedian, but being in the industry, I'm going to tell you something. I love going to comedy shows. I do. I love going to comedy shows. And because there's different comedy rooms. If I go to the third comedy show that you're in, like if I'm going like, here and there and this and the other and different venues, and I go to that comedy show and it's about 6 months in, I'll say. First time you told that joke, I was on the floor. I was like, yo, are you serious? I'm slapsticking, getting my abs back, laughing up so hard. All right. I heard the first time, it knocked my socks off. I thought it was absolutely hilarious. So I saw you again the second time, and you said the same joke, and I knew the audience was going to laugh because I thought it was hilarious when I first heard it. So yeah, time goes on. Third comedy show, you're on their bill. I'm listening, same joke. Now I'm like this. Now we get to the 6 month mark. Get to the 6 month mark, you telling the same joke. And I'm like, oh man, I'm frustrated. It shows that you didn't take any time to actually create. You got that laugh and you ran with it and you didn't do anything with it. It's the same. I mean, you didn't do anything different. And understanding that your room may change, but some people are in the same audience, and then it comes off and it lets people know that you really do not take time with your art, and you're not really that creative. It's like you write one set and you stick to that one set and that's it. Now, how often should you change your material? I mean, that's up for debate, how often you should change your material, but understand that Philadelphia is this very, very small place. And I'm finding that out, especially when I like something on a friend of mine's and somebody else like it that I didn't even know that they knew each other. Philly is a small place. So trust and believe, that you have to be creative and change things up. You have to change things up. Not just as a comedian, I'm talking about even as an actress. You know, if I see you in a show and you are a hustler in this show, and then I see you in another show and you're a hustler in that show, and then I see you in another show. Now, you know, you're a hustler in that show. Then it doesn't show any expansion of your art, creativity, and that you're not working on your art. And the only way to see people see you on stage or in front of a camera is as a hustler. You don't want that. You don't want that at all. What you want is to take the time to figure out how to get into, especially, and I'm just going to say this, I'm not saying this to all, I'm just saying in general, which I understand is difficult. And I'm not going to say male or female because that would be being sexist. What I'm going to say is some people find it very difficult to become vulnerable in front of an audience, meaning that they find it difficult to cry in front of an audience. They find it difficult to express themselves emotionally for the sake of the fact that they would appear weak. However, once you become one with your character, it's no longer you appearing weak. You are taking on the likeness of your character. That is your character being weak. Sometimes we have to learn how to separate us from the written work of the character. When you're able to do that, I'm telling you, you are hitting on a mark. When you realize that your character is hurt, your character is crying, your character just had everything taken away from him. His character was just demasculized by his wife. I don't think many would accept that on stage. It's just not going to happen. Then you have some females that, you know, their husband is abusive and they're somewhat submissive, but they're in real life, they're an independent woman. So on stage, it's like in some way they are still trying to hold on to, in their delivery, they're still trying to hold on to that independence and that strength. But this woman is a meek, quiet, subdued female. And if you don't, how do I say, learn how to create and be able to step outside of yourself and adapt the emotion of what this character carries, the audience is not going to get it and they're not going to identify with it because you're still going to be playing you. So I'm just, I know I've been going on and I'm talking and I'm trying to give y'all some little details about certain things that could possibly help somebody that is watching, that have some questions about their art, some questions about their craft. Are you doing enough? Like, going back to my question, what you could do. Are you really doing enough to further your career? What are you doing to further your career? What steps do you take to try to promote yourself? What steps do you take to review, study your art? Are you taking any time to get into your character? Are you as a director, as a filmographer, filmmaker, have you learned anything new? Are you trying to learn anything new in the industry? And I'm just going to say this. I did the film Have You Seen Her? I did it in 2016. This is 2021. Now, I have put many clips and promoted and on my page for Have You Seen Her, even though I did it a while ago, because it has not hit the major platform yet, and it's about to. So I just want to put it in the head and the minds of people that this is coming. It's coming, it's coming, it's coming. And I have learned how to do some things different from that piece. You know, I'm trying to evolve into this new way of filming, new way of doing things, digging into animation. It's just, I'm learning a lot of different ways that I can deliver a story. And I said that quite a few times. We do also have Witness Film that's going to be coming up soon. I'm going to be showing y'all clips of Witness. How are you branding? How are you branding your company? You know, how are you branding, yourself, and marketing and promoting yourself is major. It's important. How many people are aware? How many people are aware of you? Um, how many people are aware that you're an actor or actress? I look at some people's page, you wouldn't know that they were an actress or an actor until like somebody else tagged them in the piece that they're in. What are you doing to promote yourself? What are you doing to bring things in front of people so that they are constantly and consistently in the know about you and what you do? How much time do you actually take to reinvent yourself? You always have to constantly reinvent yourself. You can take the time to actually review and studies, like look at different scripts online. Sundance has a collab, and I'm putting it out there. Sundance has a collab project where you get to bounce different ideas off of other writers and directors in the business, from A to Z. Check into that. Like, there's different ways of learning. It's basically about the person and what they want to get out of it, I guess. I'm doing what I'm doing because I like delivering positive messages, and I just like the art of filming. Um, I love working with people, and I love creating. So that's one of the reasons why I do what I do. I really enjoy it. It's a very strong passion of mine. I'm looking to do it 100% full time very, very soon. But yeah, it took me a while to learn some things, and some things I'm still learning. But branding and marketing is major. It's important. It takes time. It takes energy. For a minute during COVID, a couple of scares here and there, some family things took place. I have a new grandbaby, a new grandson, baby AJ as well. So a lot of things happened. So I wasn't marketing, promoting, not because I didn't want to. It's just because certain things got in the way. But certain things get in the way for us all. So once you have a moment and you're settled, put in that time. Because when I had a moment and a breather, I would just put in that time, even if it was just to sit, put my little headphones on and listen to a webinar about different ways of filming, different ways of telling stories. Like, that's why I was telling you I'm getting into animation and things like that, to tell a story. And I'm really looking forward to that. So this is Deeva Gordon. I am on Sador Radio, and I am on every second and fourth Thursday of the month. Happy New Year. This is my first show. I'm on from 12 noon until 2 p.m. And I decided today that I wanted to come and talk to you all about the industry. Come and talk to you all about, I guess, acting 101, not necessarily how you should deliver your lines, but just coming to give you all some little gems, as they call them, some little gems of what directors look for. Why you didn't get the part is not always because of your looks. It's not always because of, I'm going to say this. I'm not going to go back into all of that because I want to tell you about some other things. Just understand, you have to be diligent about working on your art, period. The other thing is, I want to say to y'all, I want to give you all a major thank you for watching the filmed stage production of Dirty Laundry on Amazon. Y'all have made me third stage on Amazon Prime. Just understand, it's free with Amazon Prime, and if you don't have an Amazon Prime account, you got to sign up for Amazon Prime, because it is the bomb diggity. You get your packages sometimes in less than 24 hours, and you get your packages within 24 hours or 2 days or whatever. But we are on, not that's Amazon, but I'm also on Amazon Prime with DEU's Dirty Laundry, and phenomenal. Now, one of the things that I'm going to ask of you, though, while my views are up and they're doing absolutely phenomenal, what I would like is if you watch Dirty Laundry, which I hope that you will watch Dirty Laundry, I'm asking that you give it a star rating as well as a review, and tell me what you thought about the production. Um, I really had fun with that piece. I thought it was funny. We had fun doing it. And as you could tell, like the whole entire cast was like well versed in their lines and so forth and so on. It was just a phenomenal cast all the way around. The afternoon show as well as the evening show, and we had an opportunity to have it filmed by the ultimate phenomenal cinematographer Sean Chen. He did an awesome job, and I'm encouraging everybody to check out. It's funny. I'm going to tell y'all, it's funny, and it gives you some information, inside information on how some things go down in the industry. So, no love lost. It's funny. It has a couple of twists to it. It's only an hour and a half. It's not a series, as you all have been watching a series, but I have a series that's going to be coming to you, Faces of Life. But coming up, I'm going to have a major announcement. That major announcement is going to be about Have You Seen Her? So I'm really looking forward to being able to deliver that announcement. I have to wait. You know how that goes. I have to wait. I was hoping to have my announcement the very first of the year, but gotta be patient, little rabbit. Gotta be patient. So it's going to be coming up very soon. I'm hoping by the beginning of next week. So please stay tuned to the Deeva Show, and make sure that you check out Sador Radio LLC on YouTube, where you can find all the radio shows videos. You can recap them. If by any chance you may have missed something in this communication of my radio show, you can always log on to YouTube and check out Sador Radio LLC. Type in the Deeva Show and it'll come up, and you can review. You can rewind and review everything that I talked about today. I am going to post this on my platform. So I really enjoyed doing my broadcast today, because I got a chance to actually talk about some majorly important things. I am going to be coming back with my guest, Jade Royale. It's my time to eat. Jade is in ATL, and she's doing the doggone thing. Musical rapper and vocal artist. Her entertainment company is It's My Time to Eat. I've posted it on my page quite a few times. I'm trying to get you up here, Jade, so that you can perform somewhere. But everything in Philly is like so on lock. It's just crazy. Well, hopefully, with everyone starting to open up, I think the 15th and 16th, even though it's only going to be at 10%, with everything starting to open up, I am hoping that we all can get to see each other safely soon. If you can contribute to our local theaters, please do so, because they're hurting during this period in time, as well as, just look out for folks that unfortunately at this time can't look out for themselves, and say a prayer for those that have lost loved ones during this pandemic. If you haven't heard from someone in a little while, and you usually hear from them more than you have recently, reach out, send them a text, give them a call, something, because you never know what another person is going through. And a lot of times they say, "Oh, I didn't want to burden you." Just make it a point in reaching out to them, just to say, "Hey, how you doing? What's up? What's going on? I haven't heard from you." And a lot of times you don't pry, but at least give them the knowledge that they can reach out to you and they can talk to you if they're going through something, because everybody is going through Excuse me. Everybody has gone through something during this COVID. I'm just going to tell you, everybody has gone through something during this COVID. No one has been untouched. If it wasn't for family member passing, somebody being sick, or Philadelphia is just off the chain right now, in every different direction with crime and so forth and so on. So just reach out to someone and say hi and say hello and spread some love. That's all. So this is Diva Gordon with the Deeva Show. I come on every second and fourth Thursday of the month from 12 noon until 2 p.m. Okay. I didn't give y'all much music today because I wanted to give y'all as much information as possible, but I am going to go to a musical break and get some water. I'm going to take a quick musical break. I thank you all for tuning in. I thank you for your commitment and for your consistency. And thank you for watching Deeva Show. I will be back to the fourth Thursday. I don't know why I just don't roll off the tongue. But wait, before I go, I want to make sure that you all check out all of our platforms. DEU Productions LLC is on YouTube. We have DEU Productions _, LLC on Instagram. On Twitter is Diva _director. Facebook, it is Deeva Gordon, DEEVA Gordon. And then you have you seen her, to follow the film trail because it's getting ready to come out here. I'm just letting you know. Have you seen her, as well as Witness, as well as Faces of Life? I'm just saying, like, we're trying to push it, and we're really trying to push Witness. We're trying to keep these projects going because I have others that I've already written, and I already have a vision, I already see, and so forth and so on. Got to get it popping, right? 2021, got to get it popping, right? And again, shout out to President-elect Joe Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris. Congratulations. I can't wait until January the 20th so that we can begin another administration. All right. So this is Diva Gordon with DEU. And I know I started my show today with a throwback. And I did the throwback because it reminded me of my dad. My dad used to sing that song way back in the day. Are you ready? Don't pay me no mind. But I'm gonna give y'all a little something. And one of my favorites, and I know I go old school, I go back and forth. I can listen to, 60s music and take it all the way up to 2021 and, hit my Chris Brown and all of that kind of stuff. I love to listen to his music. But make sure you check out all of our platforms and make sure you check out DEU and what we have bringing to you, all right, in the future. So this is Diva Gordon from DEU. I got some music coming, all right? So make sure you check it out, all right? This is Diva Gordon from DEU. Love, peace, and hair grease. Good afternoon, party people. Because I haven't seen you all on the show since last year, I'm going to say Happy New Year, everybody. Happy New Year, Happy New Year. Welcome to the Deeva Show, the first. Again. Good afternoon, party people. And because I haven't seen you all on the show since last year, I'm going to say Happy New Year, everybody. Happy New Year, Happy New Year. Welcome to the Deeva Show, the first Deeva Show of the year. Where I play a little music, I give you a little information, a little inspiration, and some information on the industry. And today, I'm not sure if you all see it. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you some little tidbits some gems that I want to give you about the industry. I put some of those questions that I wanted to answer for you all on my page with the advertisement for the show.
Hey, yo, man, Tracy. Who? Trey? Oh, they sucking Trey. Yo, be respectful, man. Man, who the fuck you think you're talking to? Yo, Mick, chill. Yo, you causing trouble around my spot, yo. Chill. Look, what's wrong? You see my sister or not? You. Hey, Tracy. Who? Trey? Oh, big sucking Trey. Yo, be respectful, man. Man, who the fuck you think you're talking to? Yo, Mick, chill. Yo, you causing trouble around my spot, yo. Chill. Look, what's wrong? You see my sister or not? Yo, Mick. What's going on with you, Jeff? You know what's going on with him. Peaches. What's going on with you, Jeff?
Here y'all go watch the testicle with jealous. Huh?
You just know.
Here y'all go watch the testicle with jealous.
It's whatever.
Not me. Stop lying. Everybody in this room know when to whooping your ass. Stop lying. Everybody in this room know when to whooping your ass.
Jackie said the other day, while they was down at the beauty salon, Jackie said all of them were falling out so bad they got kicked up by beauty salon. And your cousin, all of them were falling out so bad they got kicked up out of there. And your cousin owned the shop, don't you? I think it's going to force you, no matter who it is. You better find a job. Jack will Brenda on your ass. Indeed. No good lazy job. Shit. Jack will Brenda on your ass. Indeed. Say it again. And say it one more time. I'll whoop your sorry slack jaw ass the fuck up. I'll beat your black ass back to Pampers.
Sit down. He didn't mean it. Come on.
I'm trying, man.
All right, what is it now?
I'm trying.
Trying that shit.
I done looked everywhere for a job, man. I was selling earring backs last week.
I know.
Where you been looking at? My brother just got hired last week at the post office.
Nigga, your brother ain't worked since either.
Man, fuck your raggedy ass, bro.
I know what.
What's going on with you, Jeff? You know what's going on with him. Peaches. do some hell kind of do.
Hey, y'all, gonna block the testicles, jealousy in there, huh?
Jealousy? Not for me. I'm happy married. Ray is the one that got issues.
Why don't you stop lying? Everybody in this room don't bring a whoop in your ass.
Jackie said the other day while they was down at the beauty salon, all of them was wilding out so bad they got kicked up out of there. And your cousin owned the shop, don't you?
Wait. My baby just don't go for no bullshit. No matter who it is. Crazy. No matter. You better find a job where Jackie go Brenda on your ass.
Indeed.
No good lazy piece of shit.
Say it again. Say it one more time. I'll whoop your sorry slack jaw ass the fuck up. I'll beat your black ass back to Pampers.
Sit down. He didn't mean it. Come on.
I'm trying, man.
All right, well, sit down.
I'm trying.
Trying that seat.
I done looked everywhere for a job, man. I was selling earring backs last week.
I know.
What you been looking at? My brother just got hired last week at the post office.
Nigga, your brother ain't worked since he was on.
Now, fuck your raggedy ass brother.
I know one thing.
Walk away. Was that your boyfriend?
No, he's my friend.
I need sex with you too.
What do you do?
You think you going? So was that your boyfriend?
So I'm really looking forward to getting into it and getting started. And one of the things, like I said, this is my first show of the year. So first and foremost,